Hi, this is Ben, and I'm going to take you through another edition of React Hacks. Today I want to show you how I created this type ahead feature. And I added it to an application that has all of these records on here. And if you wanted to search for any one of them, you could use this input tag. And as you start typing and you type more, we'll have this large list that narrows down into the single record that matches your search term. You can click on that album and it'll take you to its show page. And you could also search by the artist. So if you wanted to find Taylor Swift, you can find her there, or Tyler the Creator, you can find him there. So this is happening first by accessing an API endpoint that will return an array of all of my records. Then I use two functions. The first one is going to look at the value of this input tag and return an array of records that match the search term that you've added. The second function is going to display those matches here onto the screen. With that second function, I ran into two interesting problems. The first is if you started to type something and then delete it, the first function is going to look at an empty string to match through all the records, and as a result, all of the records get displayed, and I thought that looked pretty sloppy. The second problem I ran into is I wanted you to be able to click on this link and then go to the show page, but you first had to click on that link twice before it went to the show page, and I thought that was a little sloppy. So let's take a look at the code and I'll show you how I handled those problems. This is a feature that I've added inside of a full stack application that uses the MERN stack. And to create the API, what I first did was imported the API controller into my server file, and then I told that server to use that router anytime it received a request that ended with API. That controller is going to import Express, and it's also going to import the model for record. That's how I'm going to be able to use Mongoose. And I've handled a GET request to this endpoint of /records so that Mongoose will then look inside of the record document and then find all of the records inside of it. Finally, it will return all of those records as JSON. So now I'm able to access that array of records, but how am I able to get it? I'm looking inside my app.js folder, and I've created an empty array called records, and then I use this function called getRecords to make a fetch request. That will return all of the records from my database, and I've pushed those records into that array. So now I have an array of all of the records, but how do I make this type ahead feature work? Well, first I grabbed the DOM elements that I'm going to need. I grabbed the input tag and the unordered list called results, which I will add the results to. Then to that input tag, I've added two event listeners, and by using change and key up simultaneously, that is what will get the results to display on the DOM in real time. Both of those event listeners will invoke display result. And display result will first get an array of matching results using this find results function. And find results will take two arguments. It's going to take the value from that input tag, whatever you typed, and then that array of records. And find results will then filter through the array of records. It will take the search term and convert it into a regular expression. That way I can take advantage of this match method. And it will return an array only with results that match either the title of the album or the artist who made it. So now I have an array with just those results. But I need to tackle one of those two problems right here, and that is don't let regex catch a mouse click. What that means is I want you to be able to click on that record once and then get taken to its show page. So I figured, well, I only want to capture events being emitted by the keyboard, and the keyboard emits something called a key code. So I've come up with this conditional that's if e.keycode is undefined, in other words, if the keyboard did not emit the event, don't do anything, just return. That way the link just works after clicking it once. The next thing I want to do is start working on the HTML that will display onto the DOM, and I'm going to map through that results array, the array of matching records. And now I need to tackle that second problem, which is if that input tag is empty, don't print all of the records onto the screen, don't print anything at all. So I came up with this conditional where if this dot value, in other words the input tag, if it's empty, just return, don't print anything. But if there is a value inside the input tag, go ahead and convert it to a regular expression. Then we're going to use this replace method, and that is how I'm going to highlight the search term within the results array. Next, I'm going to return a list item that will display the results, and inside that list item, I've added an anchor tag that will take you to the record's show page. Two more things. First is I'm going to convert that array into a string, and then I'm going to take that HTML that I've just written and add it to that unordered list so it prints onto the screen. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you tomorrow.